Okay, here we go. Going into the storm. That looks like hail. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. I don't have any money. I have a 2,000-mile trip ahead of me. You see here, I'm on the reserve. I've already used 10 miles of gas on that reserve tank. What can I do? You used to be able to stop at different towns, get some dishwashing jobs, little jobs here and there, make your way across the country. I'm super excited to do this video today. My dad was born in 1924, so if he were alive today, he'd be in his 100th year on this earth. And he was quite the storyteller. And one of the stories he told us boys when we were growing up is traveling across the United States via motorcycle. He had an old BSA, and somewhere in the 50s or early 60s, he told us a story about taking that BSA and without any money, no gas, just having a wonderful, youthful, young adult experience, full of risk and excitement, traveled across the United States, working his way everywhere he went, staying at people's homes, if he was invited, staying at small hostels or hotels or motels, whatever they had, and he'd earn his way the entire way. And even when his motorcycle broke down and needed his valves adjusted, he was able to pay for that and had quite the story and experience. So I'm kind of basing my trip on his trip and kind of my experience on his experience. I'd like to kind of experience that fancy, free, and loose kind of travel, full of risk and fun. And so that's kind of what I'm dedicating this particular video to, and I hope you enjoy it. Now in this trip, I'm going from Georgetown, Kentucky to Provo, Utah. And I'm not taking a motorcycle just because of how I have to earn money. I'm taking my little Cheyenne IQ, which is probably the perfect car for a trip like this. Gets pretty good gas mileage, and overall it's nice and tiny and just about perfect. Kind of like a grown-up motorcycle, if you will, with four wheels. What is a Cheyenne IQ? Well, let's show you. This is a 2013 Cheyenne IQ. It is the second shortest car sold in the last couple of decades. 6 inches longer, I believe, than the Smart car. It was made by Toyota under the Scion label. And you can see it's got some modifications. I've got a lot bigger tires on this and a 1.6-inch lift. I know, big lift. The tires I put on are 195/75 R14s. I have 3 primary goals to hit on this first day. The first thing is I better get a gallon of gas to get off that reserve tank. The second, I'd love to fill up this gas tank fully, 100%. And third, I've got to earn enough money to pay for lodging for the night. Fourth, having a ton of fun doing it. So I better get started. All right, here goes. Dashing now. First order that comes in, let's hope it pays for enough gas to just get a couple of drops into my tank. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Another darn DoorDash video. No, seriously, it's not. But DoorDash is great in one respect, and it is really the equivalent of the type of work that my dad did when he went on his trip. It's you can do it in any town, you get the money right away. So in the 21st century, this is where it's at. All right, I just was waiting for about 10 seconds, and here's my first order. $4.50, that'll pay for a gallon of gas to do 4.1 miles. I can make that on my reserve tank. All right, here we go. And there's the order. Such a small thing. I'm currently headed to my customer's location. There you go. Delivery's complete. I'm going to reject this next order. $3 for 5.9 miles. With as little gas as I have, doesn't make any sense. However, I have reached the first milestone, which is first gallon in. So I'm going to go to a gas station now and get that gallon. Have to be really careful not to go over that $4.50 that I just earned. All right, $4.45, 1.29 gallons. I'm still blinking on reserve. I'm gonna reset my trip odometer here so I know I have 1.3 gallons. That'll go me about 40 miles. It's now time to work on the next goal, which is to fill that gas tank fully. Time to crank these orders. Here's the next order. I'm gonna accept that one. I'm off to pick up the Chick-fil-A order. Chick-fil-A is one of the nicest places to pick up food. They always seem to have the food ready to go, so I just walk in there and grab it. I just got a $6 Zaxby's order, 1.8 miles. A Taco Bell order, $4 for 0.6 miles. We're now up to $14.50 for the first hour. $9.50 to go 5.5 miles. That's an awesome order for Mancino's Pizza. Here's a quick look at beautiful, historic downtown Georgetown, Kentucky. It's gorgeous out here. Love the weather. Love the people. Everyone seems very nice. I love the architecture. It's a very beautiful part of the country. I just turned down a $8 offer to go 7.6 miles at the local Pizza Hut. Fuel situation still pretty poor. I'm going to try to get a couple of other offers and hopefully get enough to fill up my gas tank. Currently, we're close to the second hour mark. Total take so far $31. I just reached my second objective, which is earning enough money to fill up my gas tank. So I have $41, subtract off the $4.45 that I've already spent. That leaves me with about 36 bucks. So I think that's enough to fill up my gas tank. Let's go to the gas station and find out. Finally some gas. So I went 24.2 miles since I got that 1.3 some odd gallons. It took $27.18 worth of fuel, 7.55 gallons. At the 3 hour mark, total earnings 48 bucks. My final objective for the night is to earn enough to pay for some lodging. It's either that or I have to spend the night in the car. We just hit the 4 hour mark, $71.61. It's 7:30 now. That was an easy 5 hours. I'm gonna end my dash. So the total for the dash was right around $103. You take off $33 for both fueling. That leaves us with $70. That's just about enough to pay for lodging. You might be wondering why I'm at a Subway. Well, I've got this weird theory. I think sometimes food is better than money. 2 Subway sandwiches cost me $20.97. All right, let's see if this works. Is your mother home?
Yes.
Would you trade a Subway sandwich for a room and a movie for the night?
You know the way to my heart. Yes.
Outstanding. So what did we accomplish today? We are no closer to Utah than when we started, but we have a full tank of gas and a full belly and a place to stay for the night. Okay, to sum up from yesterday, I made $102.61 and I spent $52.60. That leaves me with a balance of $50.01. You can see my gas tank is still full. I traveled 59.9 miles total to earn that money. And it's just a little after 8 o'clock. This is one of those really gorgeous views driving out of Georgetown, headed toward the Frankfurt area. We'll see if I stop in Frankfurt and do some dashing or if I continue on the road. I have a full tank, $50, should be good to go. You know what? I think I can get further down the road. I'd really like to start dashing. This is Saturday morning, so probably the start of the breakfast time is probably closer to 9 than 8. I'm gonna head off to Jeffersontown, Kentucky. Jeffersontown is a suburb of Louisville, Kentucky. My first order, dash along the way, so this is great. One of the great things about dashing along the way, never been in Simpsonville, Kentucky, so that's where this first order is, $4.50. Awesome. Back on the freeway to Jeffersontown. I just got my first order at Chick-fil-A in Jeffersontown. Pretty happy about that, about $5 for that Chick-fil-A order. One of the great things about DoorDash is that if you are unfamiliar with a town, it will get you so familiar with that town really quick. Love that type of application. You know, if you're gonna move to a new town, maybe think about DoorDashing in it for a couple of days first. Here's an interesting thing that I haven't seen before. This tells you an estimated wait time between orders after dropping off. So 3 to 12 minutes right now in this current area. Look at this beautiful stretch of road here. Gorgeous. Here's a really good order, $14.75 for one pickup, one drop off. Time at present is 12:57, so just about 1 in the afternoon. I just made a total of $90.25. I am quite a bit out of my region now, so I'm gonna head off toward Wentzville, Missouri, about 4 hours and 30 minutes from here. Here you can see we're gonna skirt north around Louisville, Kentucky, on our way towards St. Louis, Missouri. We're going to go to a suburb of St. Louis. That's where our next DoorDash will likely be. Requisite bridge honking. And that brings us into the state of Indiana. Okay, if you want to find Santa Claus, there you go. Santa Claus, exit right there. Here's a familiar sight, back on that reserve tank. I better pull over and get some gas soon. With tonight's hotel costing around $60 and fueling up just now $33, that's $93. I've spent everything that I've made today so far and cut into my reserve a little bit, so that leaves me with $47. My objective now is to earn enough money for fuel for all day Sunday and to be able to spend the night somewhere on Sunday night as well without having to work, because I don't like working on Sundays. So that's the objective. I'm now starting my dash in Wentzville, Missouri. I guess the goal for this session is to make $100. It is currently 5:21 p.m. local time. That'll give me a total of $147 after paying for the fuel and the hotel for tonight. I still haven't eaten, so I'll probably have to grab a bite at some point. And again, my ultimate job today is to earn enough so that I can spend the night Sunday night and drive Sunday. I'm already off to a great start. $9 for about 5 miles. Two order pickup and delivery. First hour yielded me $17. I have a new $10 offer, single pickup. It's gonna be great. I'm about 2 hours into this latest dash, $37.80 so far. The problem I have is it's almost 7:30 and I can only go to about 10:30, so that gives me 3 hours to get the rest of the $62, something like that. It'll be a challenge. We'll see if we can do it. The reason I have to end at 10:30 is I'm about an hour and 15 minutes away from my hotel, and they lock up around midnight. Check this out. This is a Chick-fil-A delivery driver specifically. That's pretty cool. This is going to be a real nail biter here. At the third hour, I had $51. This is the end of the fourth hour. We're at $76.30. Gives me 1 more hour and 10 minutes to get some more orders. It was an absolutely amazing last hour, thank goodness. So ending this dash, total came out to $112.80. Time is 10:24, which gives us 6 minutes leeway to get going to Mexico. I'll need to get some more gas and finally a bite to eat. For my time, it's 11:25 p.m., so it's been 28 hours since I've eaten anything. So I just spent $3.18 on our tornado. It's really funny because there were tornado warnings all over the place here. I also spent just under $18 for gas. Look at that timing. We're gonna arrive at the hotel in Mexico at 11:57 p.m. It's 3 minutes to spare. Not bad. This hotel room isn't the greatest. There's some problems with the paint on the walls, as you can see here. But you know what? It's a bed to stay in. It was very inexpensive. I'm grateful that I was able to find a room for under $60. So this is wonderful. Happy to stay here, especially in the severe weather that we're having and the tornado watch that we're under. There's my friend right there. Yeah, that fire alarm went off about 3 times last night. For some reason I thought there might be a tornado, but I think it just was sporadically going off pretty loud in the room, but woke me up nicely around 2 in the morning. Missouri is pretty. I love the rain out here. I know you can't hardly see it through this window, but it's been raining pretty constant this morning. The hotel was nice enough to supply some juice for breakfast, so I drank some of that. So I had a surplus of $140.72 from yesterday. I just booked a hotel room in Cheyenne, Wyoming for $66.89. That leaves me with $73.83 to go. Looks like 800 total miles, 11 hours, 11 minutes. It'll be pretty tight. I've got almost a full tank of gas right now. Plus, it takes about $30 each time I fill up. Here you can see the route I'm planning on taking. I believe Cheyenne's in Mountain Standard Time, so I'll gain an extra hour. You can see I'm leaving a little bit before 10. Hopefully I get there around 9 or 9:30 p.m. tonight. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful Sunday. Let's go. 5 bars left on my fuel from this first fuel tank that I filled up yesterday. I still have 740 miles to go, 10 hours, 20 minutes. I probably have enough money to fill up the gas tank 2 more times. The magic number is 572. So when that number gets to 572, if I haven't filled up yet, it's going to be a little touch and go. I am doing 5 miles per hour under the speed limit, just trying to increase my miles per gallon. Currently right around 35 miles per gallon, so that gives me an additional 2 gallons to play with. Perhaps that's dinner for me. Save a couple of bucks. Another block of fuel came off. Still 712 miles to go. Kind of getting critical now. I am up to 36.1 miles per gallon. Another chunk of gas was gone, so that leaves me with 3 chunks left. Still have 682 miles to go. Trying for that 572 mark on this tank. I don't know, that's another 110 miles. Probably won't make it. There goes another bar. 37.6 miles per gallon currently. 627 miles to go. It's getting tight. Lots of fun. I'm at 573 miles and my reserve tank just lit up. So within 1 mile of the 572, that's great. However, I'm on reserve now. My calculations were based on a maximum of $4 per gallon and 31 miles per gallon on average. I'm at 39. That means I probably have at least 4 gallons to spare to make it to Cheyenne, Wyoming. This is great news. That means I've got some money to spend on some food today. I was able to put 8.64 gallons in, $27.82. Cost per gallon was $3.22. I just saw this E15, $3.07 per gallon. I probably should have done that, but oh well. Okay, we had $73.83, subtract off $27.82 for fuel. That leaves $46.01 for another full tank of gas, plus a little bit of food. Since that last tank up of fuel, I've had a wonderful tailwind, getting 45.1 miles per gallon on average. Really quite good. We've got 516 miles to go. We'll see if we can keep this gas mileage up. I just entered the state of Iowa. Kind of cool, the roads just changed to red. It seems like we were in Iowa for just a few minutes. We're now in Nebraska. My average fuel economy has dropped from 45.3 all the way down to 34.9. out of fuel, 7:44 p.m. We just traveled 310.7 miles on one tank of fuel. All right, 8.84 gallons and $30.05 was the total. Starting with our $44.23 remainder, subtract off the $30.05. That leaves me with $14.18. I went ahead and bought a pair of burritos, beef and bean burritos, for $4.84 total. So we'll subtract that off. And that leaves me with $9.34. I guess that's what we'll start with tomorrow morning, since there's nothing else I need to buy or do. Full tank of gas should get me all the way to Cheyenne, Wyoming. I've arrived at my hotel in Cheyenne, Wyoming. 36.1 miles per gallon average. You can see I've got 3 bars of fuel left, so that'll be good for dashing tomorrow morning. Total travel so far on this tank of gas is 210.1 miles. This little hotel is amazing. The floors aren't sticky, the sheets are clean, the walls look great, everything's folded nicely, it smells great in here. Big difference, I think, the $67 versus $60 on the last hotel. Nevertheless, grateful for the last hotel, and even more grateful for this one for a good night's sleep. This place is great. They have free hot chocolate, and they actually have a real breakfast from 6 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. in the morning. If you find yourself in Cheyenne, Wyoming, I highly recommend this guest inn. It was a wonderful price, and it definitely exceeded all of my expectations. Great place to stay. It included a beautiful continental breakfast as well, along with some warm waffles. People were also super nice here, both the guests and the hosts. I'm 453 miles away from Utah. That means I need to have about a tank and a half, maybe 2 tanks worth of fuel. Figure on a little less than $30 each. That's about 60 bucks. Since I am starting the day with a little bit under $10, that means I need to earn about $50. Time at present is 9:30 a.m. Starting my dash now. This should be a lot of fun here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. This will be a good opportunity for me to get to know this little city. I just got my first order, $16 for 8.75 miles. That's a great first order. I got to deliver to Warren Air Force Base, just outside of Cheyenne. Very cool. So far I've made $28. It's 11:08 a.m. Really like to leave Cheyenne by about 1 o'clock p.m. That gives me about an hour and a half to earn around $20. I have $8 to go, 45 minutes to make it happen. I'm now looking for my final order. I've got $46.31. I think the next order should push me over 50. So we'll see what happens. 2 to 6 minutes for the next order. I've got 27 minutes before I will leave for Utah. And here it is. Subway offer, $6 plus. That's a good sign. There could be more money available. 1.6 miles. I'll deliver right before 1 p.m. Perfect.
Your destination is on the left.
On my way to deliver this last order. Looks like I will deliver it right at 12:57 p.m. So that gives me 3 minutes to spare. So made my goal, which was a minimum of $50 before 1 p.m. So as soon as this is done, I will head toward Utah and we'll enjoy that drive.
Your destination is on the left.
Okay, that order is completed. Total offer, $6.50. Wonderful order. Okay, so I didn't pause the deliveries in time. I wanted to show you guys the final order, but apparently that's not the final order since another order came through. $2 to go 1 mile to McDonald's. It's fine, I'll take it. And then I will pause the deliveries afterwards and show you what my grand total for the day is and the total amount we have to make it to Utah today. Here's my total, $54.81. And if you add that to our $9.34, I have $64.15 to make it to Utah. I have 6 hours, 52 minutes, 460 miles to go. I'll probably keep a lower speed just to keep my fuel economy up. Hopefully I have enough money when I get there to eat a little dinner. I do have one hard-boiled egg from breakfast this morning, doing 65, speed limit 75. However, it doesn't seem like anyone's actually doing 75 miles an hour, at least in my lane. It is windy out here, so definitely going to use up a little bit more gas. That's okay. Still should be able to make it. I think at 75, my fuel economy would drop below 30. If the speed limit goes up to 80, I'm looking at 25 miles per gallon. This thing's most efficient at lower speeds. Once you hit 80 miles an hour, efficiency really drops off. Of course, it's still pretty efficient compared to most other cars, but again, most efficient when you're slow. Look at all the windmills on the horizon. There's hundreds, and I'm going straight into this headwind. So while they're generating power, I'm losing power. Look how beautiful it is here. Wide open country, dotted with mountains. 7.781 gallons, $23.34. Leaves me with $40.81 left. Currently averaging 25.8 miles per gallon, even though I'm only doing 65 miles per hour. The wind is definitely pretty brisk, and of course I'm climbing some mountains, so hopefully that fuel economy should improve. However, I just filled up the tank, assuming there's 8 gallons in the tank and 25 miles per gallon, assuming I stayed at that level. That'll get me 200 miles down the road. That'll leave 220 miles left to my goal. So if I fill it up again, that'll get me pretty much to my goal, maybe a little bit less than 25 miles per gallon. Now that being said, I have $40, and the last place I filled up was only $3 per gallon versus what I've been averaging, which is $3.30 plus. If I find a place that costs considerably more than that, I think I'm still fairly good. The most I've spent on this trip for a full tank of gas has been $33, so I'm well within that tolerance with $40 in the bank right now. So now it just comes down to if I continue driving 65, not 75 or 80 miles an hour, depending on the speed limit. It just depends on how much I can eat for dinner tonight, I guess. My hard-boiled egg was wonderful. Actually, it was very good. I had some salt and pepper with it, and enjoyed that very much. So onward to Utah, and hopefully a nice dinner after I fill up again. Now, one thing to note about the speed I've been carrying is I make sure that I'm not holding up any traffic. Check out all the snow up here in Wyoming. That's just amazing. I hope you can hear that wind. It's really blowing at me. So this is Laramie, Wyoming. I believe this city sits at around 7,000 feet, if I'm not mistaken. That's way up there. Hey Google, what's the elevation of Laramie, Wyoming? 7,165 feet. That is phenomenal. Just saw a fun sign, one of those digital signs to go across the freeway. Expect high winds. High winds forecasted. Yeah, well, apparently so. My little engine started to sound like a little airplane. I'm running close to 4,000 RPM right now on the flats. So usually it should be around 2,300 RPM. So definitely working it. has a CVT or continuously variable transmission, so there are no gear changes here. It just has a couple of pulleys that adjust the gear ratio. It does kind of sound like a little Cessna prop airplane when it gets into the higher RPMs. It's kind of fun. Especially when you're at this higher elevation, you can almost imagine flying. Just across the Continental Divide, 6,930 feet is my current elevation. What the Continental Divide basically means is that either the water in rivers flows to the west or to the east. All the rivers flow out to basically the Pacific Ocean. Alright, I'm reserve tank again. 31.5 miles per gallon average. I'm about 16 miles away from the nearest gas station. All that wind has pushed me back, but it's still averaging over 31.5 because I'm only about 65 miles an hour. I think I found the highest priced gas all along this route, $3.79.9. Total came out to $33.21, 8.743 gallons. So subtracting off $33.21 for fuel, that leaves me $7.60 for dinner. I bought a hot dog and one of these tornadoes for $5.23. That leaves me with a whopping $2.37 for dessert. I've been skirting this storm for quite a few miles. Most of my trip through Wyoming has been kind of around and S-curving around it anyway. I'm not sure if that luck is going to hold up. Looks pretty daunting up ahead, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll hit a storm. Coming up on the Wyoming-Utah border.
Welcome to Utah.
Okay, here we go. Going into the storm. That looks like hail.
That sounds like hail. You need to focus when you're driving.
Huh? So these are some pretty impressive impacts from the hail. Just on the edge of the storm. Again, we're kind of skirting it, so just hit a little bit of hail and starting to dissipate. But up ahead, it looks like there is no escape. I have to go deeper in here. dessert, which is kind of a cherry fritter, I think. So that's $2.14. So that leaves us with a grand total of 23 cents. Traveled 127.9 miles on this tank. You can see it's still pretty full. Total distance traveled, including all my door dashing and the trip over here, 1,846.1 miles. And that's from Georgetown, Kentucky to Provo, Utah. So yes, you can still travel across the country with nothing but a vehicle and a shirt on your back. I had a blast making this video. Thanks for watching.